That is a good sound. That is the sound of death, and that's what I like to hear over here on this farm, because a moment ago I came down here and there were loads of mobs hanging out on the inside. You wouldn't have believed me, but it was full up with creepers, spiders, and all sorts, and so I thought, aha, well, we've left the fans in the wrong position or something. And I come over here and I flick these off and on because they're supposed to be on, and they were on, but they weren't working, and none of the mobs on the inside were moving about, and I was very panicked. But as I come down here to show you that, it turns out that actually it decided to work again, which is really strange. Confusing stuff, right? Anyway, welcome back to another episode of Sky Factory. And this is a solo episode, so no Rendog today. But at the end of the last episode that me and Rendog recorded, the base went on the fritz. Now, you can't take me seriously with these eyes, but everything went a little bit haywire, and it's because of this refined storage network. Some of you may have seen this happen before, but this thing requires power, and when you run out of power and you can't give it enough, the whole system shuts down. Not just this block, but all of these other things as well, and it causes a little bit of lag. But then the problem is that it doesn't use power, and power comes back into the system and it automatically fires up again. So we had a little bit of a problem with this thing turning on and off, and that's why you'll notice that some of these transmitters have been removed and other little things have been tweaked and changed in order to save some of the power going into the system. So at the moment, the power that we're producing over here isn't quite enough, unfortunately, and I think I remember having a chat with Ren saying, don't you worry about it, this system over here is amazing, will be good for ages, but oh no, the refined storage is actually sucking up all of that power. Look at this, that is not a good situation to be in, is it? So we need to remedy this, and me and Ren were looking at what we could do, and we noticed that the lava generator Mark II requires some Enderman souls, which we could get from the end, right? And then the third tier requires some Dragon's Breath, also from the end. So me and Ren are thinking about going to the end in the next episode. What do you guys think? I think it would be a fantastic adventure. What we will do, actually, first of all, is throw down some conduits like this to suck up this power, because I believe these ones at the top are... Actually, no, they don't have any energy stored at all. Okay, so these ones here are probably zapping it all away, which means they could potentially run faster, but actually if we look there, no, it's absolutely fine. So ignore me, these conduits will be for some new lava generators that we put over the back here. And by the way, all of our lava tanks have been filled up, so they should be able to use all of this. Now when we upgrade these, we've got to consider that we might need to rebuild the whole lava creation system, right? Because they might suck up more lava. Now why do you have nothing, yet all the ones around you have some? Are you on push and pull? Let's make sure it's on push and pull on that side. There it goes. Hopefully that one will get a little bit more. So now we should be producing... Hang on a second. It's getting no lava. Are you telling me that it can't pull lava? Right. Do I have to go through and configure these to push above? I thought this was going to be real simple. Yeah, they're supposed to push to them. Right. So now I got to go and break these and configure them all one by one and then put them back. This was supposed to be an easy little bit of maintenance work. Actually, it's no bother at all to fix stuff like that. Let's pop down here by breaking a block and see what's going on in our capacitor bank now. Look at that, the energy is rolling in. That's what I like to see. So now we should not see those problems with refined storage again. Unless we go and add a whole bunch of stuff, which is technically what I'm going to do right now. For the beginning of this episode, I'm focusing on a little bit of maintenance, things that need doing here and there. And if we head over into this area, I've realized that the storage systems we have on either side are now kind of redundant, because what we want to do is hook up these items to our refined storage system with an external, what do you call it? You know what I mean, one of those ones, external storage, that's the one, but we're already using the back of this interface, so then we'd put an interface on the front, which would look silly. But the reality is we're always going to use our terminals and not come over here. So I'm actually going to tear this apart and just make it so that these things will send the items into refined storage, and that can take care of it. But at the same time, what we've also got to do is get rid of this janky cable that Ren made that goes underneath. Look at this thing. It's ridiculous. It goes all the way from this side and all the way into his epic bacon farm, which is doing pretty good. However, at the moment, my baconator is not eating for me, and I'm looking at my meter down there and thinking, I'm going to starve soon. This thing better kick in and do something. Does it need to be on my hotbar? Now, it did something when I clicked on it. I'm not sure that's how I want it to work, or maybe it just happened to kick in right then. It's so confusing. I should have left it alone, really, because I want to know how it works. So anyway, somewhere over here, perhaps right here, we will use this receiver to then import and export over here as well. And then we can send Ren his dyes without having to have that janky cable going underneath. If I can tell you one thing, it's that these need a stack upgrade. Because that is a full chest like I've never seen it before. Yeah, slap one of those over there, and bam, it starts zapping them out a stack at a time. Pretty cool stuff. So, this one's got a bit more to go. This one here has been completely tidied, although that chest is pretty full as well. And I have no idea how Zren's system works over on this side. Basically, there was a Ender IO conduit leading into a chest, and this chest was just rammed full of eggs. So, I don't know quite what this is for, because there's other things in here as well, so I'll drop Ren a message, and hopefully we'll be able to fix his farm for him. So, I have been conducting an experiment, which is going to lead us to today's project, which will be revising the mob farm in front of us, upgrading it, making it better, and getting a lot of XP from it is my plan. If we just peek into the farm at the moment, you can see a load of XP down the end there. You can also see some mobs hanging out on this side and ignoring the fan. Like I talked about earlier, it's happened again. Why do they sometimes just ignore it? It's so bizarre. You can see there's creepers in there. We've got to watch out for those. But there is XP right there, and it is not getting collected. On the opposite side, I believe the XP gets pushed across to the center, and then it does get picked up. So if we go round to the back here and have a look at the absorption hopper, I'm going to guess its collection area isn't very big, and we should probably have like 3 of these at the back here. But what we're going to do is dismantle this farm and rebuild it even bigger and even better, so we can get even more drops from it, but also lots of XP as well, as we're going to need a good supply of XP in the future. So I've been thinking about what we could build this out of, and if you put glass into an alloy smelter, you get quite clear glass, and then what you can do with this stuff is make something called... That looks slightly different from what I want. Black stained glass. No, that's not what I want at all. Dark clear glass. Why? Oh, have I missed a step here? It's always so confusing. When you go and look at this, the first thing that it shows you is how you can change the colour of the type of glass of all these different recipes. If we actually click on that dark clear glass, you'll see that we make this using an alloy smelter. So I thought, what's the quickest way we can do this? I've slapped some down next to our flux point, so it's getting power that way. And then on the back here, what we're going to do is just quickly add some exporters and chuck the sand and the ink sacks into that, rather than doing it like this, which is going to be quite slow and tedious. So when we hook this up, it should, in theory, just plug everything into that, and we'll be able to produce stacks of the stuff really quickly. There we go. We got loads of it rolling in now. This one's already made a stack. That's because it's got the octadaic capacitor in it. Excellent. Let's grab that. There are charged creepers in there, and I'm guessing they are created by that liquid which turns skeletons into wither skeletons. Now, most of those skeletons should be dead, and that's what we've got to look out for, because they can shoot the creepers. But once again, the fans seem to be a little bit ineffective here. I don't know why that happens, but it's happened. And we've got a googly-faced Enderman hanging out over here, and he's a compressed one as well, so if we killed him, he'd turn into 9. But anyway, this is the kind of view I want to have of our farm. Wow, what a shot. And that's why we've made this glass right here. Now, I was going to paint this black as well, but I think that would make it harder to look on the inside. So, with the roof open, we kind of get a look into the farm, and we can see some of the problems with it. We can see where the XP isn't being picked up, and for some reason why the fans aren't activating. Well, we don't have an answer for that, but we can see that they're not working. Look, they're on, yet for some reason they're not pushing the mobs. And with the power of flight, we can make these mobs magically despawn by flying away. And while I'm out here, I'm noticing that some of those bats that Ren was spawning the other episode, they're still hanging out down here. It's crazy. Of course, bats don't despawn, so it kind of makes sense. And if we peek our head in here, most of the mobs are gone, still got a few more to get rid of. So we got another quick and crude Ender IO set up here, because another thing that we need is steel in order to make this mob farm upgrade. This is going to allow us to have bigger platforms for the mobs to spawn on, but we need steel. And the way you can make steel in this mod pack is with coal and iron. So I'm quickly setting this up. We're going to export some coal over on this side, and then we're going to be exporting iron on this side. Although we're going to give it a second, because actually the sag mill needs to make the coal dust. Yep, and the coal dust needs to be pushed to the other side, which I've already configured. Now we're going to give this one an upgrade so it can do this nice and fast, because I believe it's 4 coal for every 1 iron, although I could be incorrect. So now if we export iron on this side, we should get some steel being made. And I believe, has it started? Have I done something wrong here? I totally thought that Ender IO was chaining power through each of its blocks. It doesn't actually do that. Last time when I placed down these alloy smelters, they must have been fully charged up and then used all of that power slowly. This one's been fully charged, but now it's draining. But anyway, we are producing steel. We've got the coal powder on this side. It knows to export it into this one. And steadily we're producing steel. However, we're going to need a lot more of it than this. In total, we're going to need 297 ingots of this stuff because I've done the maths, I've done the calculating, figured out how many of these we actually want in total. So what we're going to do is set this detector, because we've got an importer here, we're going to set this thing to wait for 233. And of course that means we're also going to have a stack inside the smelter over here as well. So then what we'll do is we'll get it to emit a signal when above the amount, and then we'll get this thing to stop working when there is a redstone signal. Only work without redstone signal. So once we reach this much inside of the system, it's then going to automatically turn this off. And although this is like a crude and temporary setup, you could build more permanent setups for this, and then you could always keep a certain amount of steel available in your system. So with that steel, I have made an upgrade for our mob fan. I've made 9 of them, which means this thing can push a lot further along. And we're going to make this a free floor farm like that one over there, which is going to make it super efficient. I mean, this is the original platform right here. We're probably going to be tripling the size of it already, and I've been very careful with where I decided to build this because we cannot have any solid blocks above us. We've got opaque blocks or glass up there, so that means we're not going to decrease the efficiency of this farm. Now the first thing that I want to do is test how far this thing pushes and make sure my calculations are correct, and in order to do that I think what we'll actually do is remove this mob fan whip from right here. So when I turn this on, I'm going to stand on the edge and then walk into it, and slightly terrifying, but it's pushed us as far as these 2 blocks right here, it seems. So maybe those should be the 2 where we put our iron spikes. Now my thinking is there's going to be spiders in this farm, and they're going to fall down on top of these spikes. So we may need to have 1 extra upgrade on this, and because we're using 9, that would work out quite nicely. Another thing we need to do is check what's above us. Nope, we are all good at the moment. This is going to be an amazing farm, and I am basically sort of following what Nembomb did in his video. If you didn't see our previous episode about that, I linked to his tutorial. I'll probably link to it again. Another really great thing that he did was to make these floors compatible for Enderman, and I've got a feeling this isn't going to work with slabs. In fact, let's also turn this thing off first. So our first floor is going to be like this big. All of this will be filled in. It's going to push the mobs across to the spikes. The second floor will do the same thing, except the mobs will fall down onto the spikes. Now what we want to do to allow Enderman to spawn in here is change the size of this block, and that's why I've got a diamond chisel and also my chiseled bags with me as well. But I don't think, look at that, it doesn't work with this block. I think we're going to need a solid one. And by solid, I of course mean a full block, like this one is here, because the other one was a half slab, and we can zap away. Look at that. Oops, I wasn't supposed to do that. I'm supposed to get them from the bottom. So if we go back over to connected plane, we can, nope, right click to place. There we go. So that should be a full block again. Right, and now let's chip away at all of these. So what we're left with is that. And I believe an Enderman can actually spawn inside of this space right here. And mobs will be able to spawn on top of that as well because it's a flat surface. So that allows us to have the 3 different floors like we've got over here, but Enderman will spawn in it as well and be farmed. This is what happens when you forget to throw down some torches and you let the night time come around. So what's really weird is a lot of them are just happy to walk over the edge and fall down into the void. Jeez, we've got to be careful here. We don't want a skeleton shooting a creeper right now, do we? It looks like they also spawn on the mob spikes. Did we just see a skeleton spawn on one, or was it stupid enough to walk onto it? I mean, there would be an alternative farm, right? Just build your platform out of the spikes. They spawn on it and then they die. Yep, I just saw another one spawn on it. How crazy was that? So a platform like this is quite the mission to build, but because we've got the positive chisel design, and I'm using this with the placement effect, we can put these down relatively easy. But the thing is, it's kind of finicky to point at that edge, right? So what I do is I level up with it like this, and then I keep my mouse very still and just go to the right and click like that all the way across. You could probably do it a little bit faster than this, and then you've built an extra row, and then do it bit by bit. But as I've been doing this, I've realized that we are going to need a lot of this glass. I've already got a fair bit right here, but I wouldn't be surprised if this stuff just got zapped away from me. How much more of it do we have? I think we want like one more, and then it's going to be the roof. Yep, that looks about right. So let's go stand in this corner. And it goes all the way over to just there. Is that it? If we run out, wow. And then we're going to fill in the top of this as well. And then it's going to be seriously cool because we can just look at it from a distance and see it in action, right? Which I think is going to be amazing. So let's get more of that glass cooking and let's finish this final platform and then we can probably see this thing in action. It looks pretty cool, but unfortunately this is the last of my dark clear glass. We have exhausted all of our ink sac reserves and the farm over there isn't fast. As you know, it's pretty much an accidental farm, but what we're going to do now is throw down the slabs, and as we do this you can see the darkness creeping across the platform, which is really cool. And we might not have... No, we've got plenty of slabs to finish it off, and bam! Wow! It goes solid black in there, but not at the bottom, and immediately mobs are spawning, which is fascinating. Well, we can get to work, and we can switch these on, because they've got all the upgrades they need in them, and there's Endermen in there, because I can hear them going. That is insane! Wow, I did not expect to see it. Oh man, it is really going ham, right? In fact, we should probably turn this off because we're going to create a stupid amount of entities. That was impressive. Now, the farm was pretty... Oh, look, all the bats as well. That's crazy. Oh, right, okay, so now we got to collect all of these things, and I've made 3 absorption hoppers, and I'm hoping this can do all the XP and the items as well. So we're going to break this block here, which is level with the spikes, or just above it, and I believe that is letting in light, and we can see that it is because of the light on that floor. It's also not picking up any XP, which is, well, it is, but very slowly. Now, the other option is to just place it behind, as I believe it can suck things in through. You can see the items disappearing. If we pay close attention, there they all go. But the XP, I'm not so sure about. But we can see it filling up here. I think when it comes to XP, it's just a little bit on the slow side. So that's done a decent job. Some of those bats are flying into the spikes. Oh, but what it hasn't done is picked up the rest of the XP that's back there. And that is going to be a problem. So I'm not sure how we will create a solution for that bit. That's a lot of mobs, isn't it? And they can't see me. They can't see me at all. Another thing we've got to consider with this farm is that spiders might cause an issue. But I've got a feeling they might not be able to climb on this glass. Or at least they might not realise that they can. And therefore they're not creating a problem. And it's very dark. Let's actually go sleep in the bed before we record any further. Another reason we needed that glass is because of the Endermen. Look, they're teleporting out of the farm, which is no good, but it did make me think they don't teleport to glass, so we could put some regular glass on top of this, right? We have a rather unique and interesting challenge in front of us right now. You see, the absorption hopper does a 7x7 area. It tells you right here, which means it goes as far as these iron spikes, which is why loads of XP and items built up on this side. And if I'd have built this 1 block higher, the whole thing would have been so much easier at this point, but unfortunately I didn't. And it means what we're going to have to do is put these absorption hoppers down at this level. Now they're going to be able to pick up items and XP, but we've also then got to move them into our refined storage network on this level right here. And I don't think it's going to be too difficult, but the problem is if we go closer to the edge, then we let in the sunlight. It is actually going to creep in underneath there. So we kind of have to hide everything in these positions. And I did craft a whole bunch more of these to have in this area, but I now know it's actually going to pick up all of the drops from just around here. So that's good. But how do we configure it all? And I think Ender IO conduits are going to have something to do with this. I made some fluid conduits, so those could go along these blocks and connect to these. But then I also just realised that we need to do items as well, except you can't have both fluid and item on the same connection on these absorption hoppers. This is going to be a tricky one. Good news, the glass on top appears to work. That'll be a temporary fix until we get more of this glass. And good news is I fixed the stuff behind this as well. If I'd have thought ahead a little bit more, I could have made this easier for myself. But after trying many things, the solution came to be to just extend this here down by 1 block, because the light is coming in on the bottom block of the world, which is that there. It doesn't come in from underneath that. So with that extra little bit of trim at the end, do you know what? I'm just going to leave this on now. Oh, maybe that doesn't work then. Maybe we'll plaster this thing with water. I don't know. Oh, and mobs are still spawning in there. I think when I'm like here, they can spawn in that corner. Yep, there they go. That's kind of crazy that you can be that close to it. And there's Efo getting wrecked by the farm as well. Crazy stuff. So, this is what's going on underneath. We've got fluid conduits from Ender.io going across the back. Then we have item conduits which share the same space and they connect like on the side. Now the light can go through these spikes, as you can see on the bottom floor here, and we could have done this one block closer, but I don't think we can realistically fit in the connections we need at the back here. So what we're going to do is extend the glass over them, if that makes sense. I don't think it does. But I tried my best, hey? So somewhere along here what we want is a container. I chose a dropper because it wouldn't let the light through. I was sort of thinking along these lines that we would fill in the glass, would have the dropper right there, and then the item conduit would send into there, and we would use the importer to bring it into our refined storage system. But we also need to hide an experience obelisk down here to collect the liquid XP as well. We have a very big problem here in the world. It's all gone slideshow mode. What is wrong with xisuma's computer, you might be wondering. I know what's wrong, and it's kind of great and kind of ridiculous at the same time. We have built a farm that is so efficient. Please be flying. Okay, we're going to have to go all the way up to the top to make sure we're flying here. We've built a farm that is so ridiculously efficient, I can't fly. This is extremely bad. The server might crash because of this. Can I fly? I need to get down there and sort this thing out. This is not good. Okay, this is the reason things are so bad. This is such an incredibly efficient farm that it is making an extraordinary amount of items and XP. I mean, that is ridiculous. Look at that. That is too much for our system here to handle. And I had to use a command there to kill the XP orbs. In fact, I'm going to show you it just so you know what it is. That one right there. Bam, away go the XP orbs. Back come the frames. But we've even got items here causing a problem, which means I'm going to have to shut this thing down. Now, I thought we'd just finished everything. I want to put a torch on top of that, because technically a mob can spawn there. I decided to just zap this thing over at the side, but it can't move the XP through quick enough to go into there, and the absorption hopper can't pick it up. Neither can the items get moved around quick enough. And I made some speed upgrades, but I got a feeling that I might need a lot more than that. Let's put a stack upgrade into here. I've still got some more time to play today, so it's going to be my objective to try and increase the rate at which we can pick these things up. But it kind of looks like it's too efficient for the tech that we have at the moment. So for right now, I am going to disable this thing. Jeez. Nuts. Absolutely nuts, that stuff right there. And I'm waiting to see the XP orbs. There we go. We've got loads and loads of them now. So let's move in. What a racket that is. I've got a XP vacuum right here. I think it might need power or something because it doesn't appear to be doing anything. But it could also be that it can't suck the XP through the blocks. But I thought we should try looking at some other ones. But another thought again has crossed my mind that if we're able to pick up these items quick enough from this farm, our refined storage system does not have the capacity to hold on to these items. Do you know what I mean? It's like we've built a problem for ourselves. I thought this was going to be great, but now we realise that we're not ready for this farm yet. These eyes, they so eloquently express what this episode has been like. It's been amazing, but it's also been a huge derp. So I've got to take in the levers off of the back, because I don't want Ren coming on here and thinking, oh, you know, X has left his mob farm off, let's turn it on. It needs to stay off. And even when it's off, it's going to produce items and XP, because mobs love to walk into those spikes, apparently. So it'll be okay for now, but I'm left thinking, hey, we've got to think about how we're going to store these items, how we're going to pick them up quickly, and the XP as well. I'm going to need all of your help. If you have ideas on what blocks, what technologies we should use, then be sure to leave a comment down below, because when we come to this again, we really need to do it proper and make sure it can keep up. Because right now, if we turn that thing on, we're basically going to crash the server. Man, I forgot how completely and utterly wrecked this place is at the moment. We're going to end this one by asking the Minecraft gods what do they think of our farm. And I'm going to get rid of this pendant. We're not going to use that. We're just going to crank open an icosahedron right here, give it a click, and see what our fate shall be. I got a feeling we're going to get wrecked because that farm could easily destroy this server. So what will it be, Minecraft gods? I get these swords all the time. We got 3 of them when I was playing with Red again. I do appreciate it, but it's not really that good anymore. Well, that has been it from me this episode of Sky Factory. If you've enjoyed it, leave a like as always. Thank you for your wonderful support. And remember to leave a comment down below and suggest things from the mod pack that may help us with our storage, our XP and our item situation. So thanks for watching, peeps. I'll see you in the next one. Ciao for now. Bye bye.